I'm the critic. This is the bestie. We read
Hello.
Stray for the February book of the month. This is the Pretty Little Death. Thank you very much for joining us. Cass, who was Stray by?
Stray is by Daisy Jane, and it is a first off. It's a romance. It's got some smut to it, but it's a BDSM femdom romance, and it's my first one. And I have to say, this is a really good one to start out with.
Yeah, it was
Um,
it was very low key.
Very low key, very safe for newbies, I would say. She released it in May of 2022. It's about 500 pages, roughly. It's a very easy read as well. I have
How
to
long
say it
did it
was
take you? Cuz like of the
two,
two of us,
3 days. Three
wow.
days.
That is okay.
That's quick
Amazing.
for me, by the way.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
Um, I want to preface this episode. I am getting over sickness. If you heard our shorts episode earlier this month, because this is going to be released in a couple of days, um, then you probably heard it in that episode. I heard it editing that episode. I am getting over that sickness. I'm probably not as high energy as I usually am. But if I start coughing, I apologize. I'm going to try and mute myself. Um, that being said, I haven't read anything since that short.
Which is unheard of for you.
I fall asleep so quickly when I'm sick.
Hmm.
Um, and I just had so much to do and trying to get over being sick. So you'll have to help me remember some of this because even though my
That's
memory
okay.
is fantastic about books, it's been a minute.
It has. It's been
And
longer for her than it has been for me because you killed this one before I did, and
oh,
I
so
I read
quick.
this one in the middle of January, so it's been a little bit of time.
So quick.
Yep.
So, we have this is considered a pleasure dom or soft dominant read. It
Mhm.
is good for newbies because it involves two newbies themselves.
Yep.
If this is not one of those taboo subjects that you are interested in, totally understand that. But this is not hardcore stuff.
It's
It
not. It
really
really isn't.
isn't.
It's.
It's
I
kind
wrote
of
in my
cute.
book. Yeah, yeah. It's extremely cute. I wrote in my little journal entry here that if it weren't for the BDSM taboo stuff, it would be a Hallmark movie because it's very saccharine and sweet. It has a
But
happily ever
not
after.
not like diabetic sweet. Like there's a
It's not.
point where
Yeah.
things can get just like really sappy, and this doesn't.
Mhm.
If I remember correctly, this doesn't hit that.
It was a little sappy for me. I disagree, but it's okay. It was fine. It was just enough.
Oh wait,
Um,
okay, I take that back. I'm remembering the scene with his sister and her at the window watching him and the child.
exactly. Yes. Like
And
it
I
was
was
kind of a
like,
little mushy at the very
at
end. It
the
was a little
very
mushy at the
end.
end, but it's okay. I give it a pass. Okay, given
Yeah.
their history, both backstories and stuff. So but it's good. It's like a little bit of a fish out of water situation for the main character. Her name is Elsie, and she has a mama to
Hmm.
a daughter named Effie, and she's in her 30s. And also, big win, a protagonist that's not a rail thin 18 to 22-year old.
We love those
We get a
kind of
grown woman who's a
characters.
mama.
Yeah, yeah, we're always
So,
going to champion those kind of characters that like could be an actual person.
yes,
Um,
yeah. Very believable.
very
You can
believable.
easily fit yourself into her situation. Um, and she is. out of a job, and she gets into this situation.
Wait, hold on. No synopsis. No synopsis. We're not doing synopsises anymore.
That's true. Just a little introduction.
Yeah. Okay.
So
Okay. Okay.
she gets herself into a BDSM situation with Bran.
Bran.
So he's a little bit damaged, a little physically
even.
too. Yep. So they have this little
meet cute.
fling.
They have a meet cute in the most unlikely of ways.
It's so cute. The meet cute is great. We won't spoil it for you.
Read this one. Read this one so much. You know, I loved that first chapter. That first chapter is his chapter, and he's on a blind date. And he makes a joke that it's hilarious that it's considered a blind date.
Yes.
And
I love the intro of this book is so good.
Yeah. It makes me
very
wonder,
well written.
It makes me wonder, because this is book 2 of 3, what the other 2 books are like.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Oh, I'm going to read the other ones now.
Yeah.
For sure.
I've read a couple of Daisy Janes now. Like, they're almost all soft doms or pleasure doms. They're all very good. So, like, I have no doubt that the other 2 books are going to hit right where they need to hit. But it's just like that first chapter though, like I knew I wasn't reading a normal story, and it was so refreshing because we've had openings where it's like, okay, this has been done before. I know exactly the hits that it's gonna hit, or the marks that are gonna happen. In this first chapter, like it's just kind of rinse and repeat. But this one was so good because not only are we getting his point of view, we're getting his point of view on a date.
Yep.
With not our character, our female character.
I do have some gripes. I don't know if we want to get into it.
Yeah, get it. Let's get into it. Like that's what we're talking about. That's what we're here for.
So, Bran, he's a bit of a whiny baby.
Oh my gosh, I'm so glad you said that.
I thought he was insufferable. So, borderline incel behavior. Not quite.
Thank you. Not quite, but it's like
getting there. He was on the track. He was one 4chan post away from getting there.
Oh my gosh. Yes. Oh, I can't agree more. Like, no, it was one of those things where it was like, okay, I know what they're trying, like, I know what the author is trying to go for, and it just hit the mark so wide that it went into disingenuous and you're right, like incel like rhetoric. And I don't think it meant to do that. I think the impression she was trying to give us that he was just depressed and had very low self-image and self-worth.
Super bad. And maybe I'm so used to seeing it from a female perspective, like something like this, that I have a little bit of internal biases and a little bit of leftover, societally conditioned behaviors that, oh, this is not how a man should act. And that's, probably on me. Or check my biases a little bit. But I just thought he was very whiny in the beginning. It's been happening for years apparently, and to the point where his buddies were like, you need to they were trying to stage an intervention kind of deal with him.
Yeah. So. Like they kept talking about Grey's Anatomy. That I thought was a great tie-in. Like you're Arizona. You're Arizona. And he's like, I'm not Arizona. And they're like, no, you're acting like Arizona. You're gonna lose Callie. 100%. And I was like, why are all these dudes watching Grey's Anatomy?
Because don't they all have girlfriends or no? I don't know.
I
Maybe
don't
they're
think
all.
all of them do, but
Grey's Anatomy is just classic now. I
it
remember
is.
being a child watching that with my mother, like folding laundry. You know what I
See,
mean? I was young when
I
it came
we
out.
weren't into Grey's Anatomy in my house. It was
Mhm.
my mom was hella into Melrose Place,
Aha. Yeah.
but I am of a different different era of the 90s than you are. Let's put it
Yeah.
that way.
Just a
Um,
little bit. Not too
so
off, but
Melrose
a little
Place
bit.
and
Yeah.
Ally McBeal were like my mom's shows. Those were my mom's
Hmm.
shows. I didn't watch Grey's Anatomy until I was in my late 20s.
Yep.
And then I had Netflix on my Xbox 360, and I just binged it all because it was all on Netflix. So
Yep.
I watched everything that they had, which
Oh, the good old days.
I th- I don't remember what season they're on now, but I think I
Mhm.
went all the way up to I went from like season 1 all the way to season 13, 12 or 13, something
They're
like
in
that.
the 20s, I think, now.
Yeah, so
It's
it's
pretty
been it's
crazy.
been almost 10 years since I watched it, and I
Yeah.
think they were 2 seasons behind on Netflix. So, like, I even got some of those references and I was like, "Holy shit, he is being in Arizona." And then I was like,
Yes.
why the fuck are these guys watching Grey's Anatomy? Even my husband, my poor husband, who listens to us do this podcast every single time we do an episode, he only watched Grey's Anatomy because his sister made him watch Grey's Anatomy. You
There,
know?
it's just pop culture, I
Oh,
feel,
he's
at
over
this
here
point.
shaking his head. No, no, it wasn't your sister.
I never saw it.
Oh, my bad. He's never seen it.
Oh,
Lucky
thank goodness.
bastard.
That's probably a good idea.
Yeah, it's a great idea. Never mind, husband. I'm sorry. Still. No, there were times where I was just like, Bran, I know I'm supposed to like you and I'm supposed to feel bad, but I don't. And I don't know if that is what you were talking about is just our biases, or if it's my non neurotypical like processing, because
It could be.
like part of me is just like I know depression, like
Hmm.
very familiar with depression. I don't go around thinking this kind of bullshit in my head. Even at my lowest, when I was single, I wasn't thinking this kind of bullshit in my head. So
Yeah,
like,
he was. But the thing is that we also don't have the physical, abnormality.
it's not
I
an
don't know,
no. It's
maiming.
yeah. He was
He
maimed.
was maimed, but it was anyway. I don't want to spoil it.
Don't want to spoil it. Don't want to
Don't
spoil
want to
it.
spoil it. I think it was silly, a little silly, and a little over the top. How depressed he got, and for how long he had his depression.
Yeah,
But
because like
you, yeah, you should read it and judge for yourself. Given the history and the backstory to the maiming, so
I don't think like his big hang up is that he thinks that nobody wants to date him because of what happened to him. Again, I
right,
wouldn't say it's a deformity because he wasn't born that way. It's
right,
not a deformity. He calls it a deformity, I
he
believe,
does.
but it's not. It's an injury. It's an injury and a disfigurement.
Hmm.
Um,
That was the word I was going for, disfigurement.
um,
But
and I
anyway,
think
he had his reasons
I think he was projecting more than he probably should have,
for
because
sure.
I don't think that his date went south because of his disfigurement. I think his date went south because his mood immediately changed.
His
Like
attitude.
like having been on the fucking blind date circuit before I met my lovely husband, who's very understanding of our foibles and our discussions, who's currently in there making breakfast for himself so I can do this recording. Like, you can tell, a woman can tell, or a person, let's put it that way, a person can tell the minute that you start second guessing everything.
Yep.
The energy just changes.
Oh yeah, it gets awkward,
And
and
I felt him get awkward reading it.
yes,
Like the
it was a hard,
minute,
cringy to.
yeah, it was real. It was like, ooh, dude, like the minute that thought crossed his mind, his entire attitude changed, his energy changed. She felt that. And
Mhm.
the only reason that he had a thought cross his mind is because she happened to not look at his disfigurement,
Mhm.
which people tend to do to be respectful. They don't want to stare.
Yep. Because you're taught growing up, if you see stuff like that, you can't stare. You can't
Right.
gape and.
You're trying to be respectful.
Yep.
And he took that as a diss immediately. I I loved this story, but I did not like him.
Yeah.
Like I immediately disliked him after that.
He redeems himself. I am a bit of a sap, and his reaction to her being a mother was very cute, very sweet.
Yeah, because she
Um,
has fears of her own, like that he's gonna
yeah, and
reject her
they're very
because
valid fears. Like if,
yes, the oh,
um,
it's definitely a thing.
oh yeah, people out there who are in the dating pool who are
Hmm.
single mothers or just trying to make it on their own, for whatever reason, that's having a kid in the picture is a turnoff for so many people.
Hmm.
Um,
Well,
and
and on the
it's
flip side, like being someone who's dating with a child, like you, if you are the person dating someone who has a child, it's also that is very treacherous too, from
it is.
experience, like because the thing about kids, you get attached very easily with someone whose heart is just absolutely open. You know,
Yeah.
you get
Yes.
it's very difficult. Like when I was
It's
dating,
complicated.
it's very
Yeah.
complicated, and I made it a point to not. And I may be part of the problem, but at a certain point, I made it a point for myself not to date anybody with kids because I did not want to get attached. And if I did date someone with kids, I made sure that we were dating for quite a while before
You introduced
I
yourself. Yeah.
yes,
Yeah. It,
yeah,
it adds a whole nother X factor. I feel like I can't really speak on this too much, but like I think that is completely one of the huge reasons why it's hard to date when you have children, especially young ones.
yeah.
And the protagonist of the story has a young one.
Hmm. She's under
So
5,
she's,
if isn't she?
I think she's like, yeah, 3 or 4.
Yeah,
I can't remember, but young.
very young.
Um, so she wants to completely separate her. Uh,
Extracurriculars.
I love that. Thank you.
Oh,
Her extracurriculars from her personal life.
so I got told recently that um some people would love to listen to our podcast, but they're afraid of how much sex we talk about. And I just want
Yeah.
to put this out there right now. We don't actually talk about the sex. We mention the tropes, okay? And we talk about the
Yes.
story and the writing, because that's what's important to us. The sex or all the kinky stuff that's in these, that is just icing on the cake, okay?
Yes.
That's not exactly what we're going for. I mean,
Unless you
this
guys want to talk
bitch,
about it,
this
but
bitch wants
for
the
the
dirty
most
talk, okay? But that's about it. All right. So if
yeah.
that is why you're not listening to this podcast or subscribe to us, please put those fears aside. We don't actually talk about graphic things like that. We're talking about the story and writing. So extracurriculars brought that up. Sorry.
Right. Unless there's something wild and crazy in
Right.
the extracurriculars that we have to bring up, we would try to be less explicit about it. But
And
anyway,
those episodes always have a trigger warning in the beginning.
yes.
Like I always put the trigger warning if we're talking about explicit stuff. So, yeah. But yes, she tries to hide the extracurriculars from her personal life, which is commendable. Like, not
Hmm.
a lot of people do that, and they drag their children into situations that they don't need to be in, that are way
Hmm.
too adult or something like that. But she tries to hit that boundary line pretty hard. Like, she's like, no, we're not doing this until it has to happen. And I don't remember what triggers that having to happen. I think he just shows up to her apartment or something like that. I don't remember.
Hmm.
Because it's been a minute and I'm still sick.
Hmm.
So, yeah, like of the whole story, I think it handled being a single parent, dating with a disfigurement, and in the context of a sane and consensual relationship. Like, I think those points got hit very, very nicely. But just like she, back to characterization. Let's put it that way. She tries to handle her shit,
Yeah.
like, and with minimal fuss too, which is not something we see too often with contemporary characters, female
Hmm.
characters. Like, everything is very woe is me.
She is definitely a boss babe, but not in like an over the top way.
Yeah,
She's very mature and takes everything in stride. She doesn't. She's not without her insecurities,
right.
but uh, she's not going to take any crap either.
Mm-mm.
So it's good.
Yeah,
Uh, it's good.
and
I
we,
wouldn't skip out on this one, even if you are a little squeamish about the BDSM stuff. I think it's a good one to read,
if anything, just
especially.
to open the door and maybe wash out the 50 Shades of Grey bullshit.
Oh yeah,
This is a better
again,
read.
I have not even read those books, and I don't want to. I refuse.
I read them for
Um,
you. Not worth it. Not worth
that's
it.
what I keep hearing.
And
So,
and that's, I read them not knowing that they were a Twilight fanfic, and having read them, I hate Twilight even more now. So,
uh,
oh, so since we're now at like our halfway point, before
mhm,
we get into our review questions,
mhm,
y'all need to join us on the Discord because we are posting different fan theories, different plot points in different series on the Discord. You can find us chatting about different things, book related or book adjacent related, on our
mhm,
Discord, and we'd love to get your input. Like, I have found this creator on YouTube, and
mhm.
she has been posting shorts about Twilight. And there is stuff in there that I did not need to know, but now that I do, I can't escape it, and neither can you. And I am posting this almost entirely for you, Cass. Oh my gosh. Like,
Yeah, there's some crazy stuff. Yeah, in there.
I
I
just
know.
last night I think I posted something about Harry. No, it was this morning. I posted something about Harry Potter that I was just
Hmm.
like, "Whoo, I hadn't thought about that." Like, what would have been the easiest way to get rid of Voldemort? Somebody just fucking shoot him. Like, why didn't anybody think about that? Because the wizarding world has very firm boundaries. It's not a. It's, like, they don't think the way Muggles do because they don't need
No.
to. They have magic, and I was just like, oh, that makes so much sense. Yeah, why didn't somebody shoot the bastard?
Yeah, it's because I mean, well, and it's crazy to me too. Oh man, we could get into that
We could
if we
get
want,
into it.
but
Okay, I
but
do have I do have some very I finally pinned down my major gripe about most contemporary books, and I'm
mm,
going to discuss it with you today in the post show. So, if you
okay.
haven't joined us on Apple Podcasts, if you are an Apple Podcast listener, you can get exclusive access to our post show through Apple Podcasts. It is a small subscription, but you have access to all of these discussions that are not related to our book of the month, but are book related. And we'd love for you to join us either on Discord, where you can get them if you are a paid member, or on Apple Podcasts. So, take a look at our link tree. See if you want to join us. We'd love to have you. All right, Cass, let's get into these questions.
Yes.
I need to get them off of the Kindle Scribe because it takes me so long to get them up on the Kindle Scribe. But I don't want to like post it because it's just like then I have post-its all over my desk and it's already a mess. Let's be real, it's already a mess. Okay.
Don't worry, you're good. You're good.
I am so not good. Okay, what is your overall rating for the story?
My overall rating for the story was 3.5 for me.
Really?
Yep.
I
enjoyed this one a lot. Don't get me wrong. I think I was really put off by how Bran is. I didn't like him, so it just brought the whole story down for me by a whole star.
I think like the biggest problem is that it sets a bad light for male submissives. You don't need to be a whiny bitch to be a male submissive.
You really don't.
Like some of the most compelling male submissives that I've ever known were the ones that you didn't think were submissive to begin with.
Or were like switches, or you thought were going to be doms, and I just that's the story I want to be reading.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah.
Okay. Okay, good to know. I mean,
so.
All right, I'll look out for it.
There's an underlying trope of the, boss mommy, taking care of the submissive and basically, bolstering up his entire life and, giving him his confidence back. And it's like, that really should not be her responsibility. But it should be his responsibility of discovering his self-worth. But I don't know. It just, the underlying subtext was a little icky to me. But again, it's a BDSM.
It's a good toe dipper. That's what I was trying to get. It's a good toe dipper. I actually gave it a 3. And it's first person in both ones. Like both points of view are first person. They get 1 star off for that alone, and that's gonna be what we talk about in the post show. Okay,
every time.
Not every time. You should go and listen to some of the shorts because, like, some of those scored pretty high in first person. Thank you very much. Okay,
that's true. That's true.
Anyways, I gave it a 3. I thought the underlying right there, the undercurrent of the whole thing was that he did not see his own worth, so nobody else could either, and then somehow she just like gifted it to him.
Yes.
And I was just like, bitch was there for a job. As far as she was
exactly
like, as far as she was concerned, she was there for a job. Like, but again, like, it could have been a Hallmark movie. Like, it's just...
Yeah. It was... The ending is good. I think it was... Like I stated earlier, it was a little too saccharine. What did you remember?
I remember why I also gave it 3 stars. So it wouldn't have been just a 3-star if it hadn't been for the fact that, like, halfway through, everything stopped and it became very vanilla.
Yes. Oh my god, yes.
It was like a flip of a switch. Like, automatically, everything became vanilla. And I was just like...
Because they stopped doing their
sessions.
DS relationship. It was more...
It was
just regular vanilla stuff.
It became a relationship and not a transactional relationship.
Yep.
And so...
that's why it... Yeah, that was also one of my biggest gripes, too. Because it just kind of... was like, oh, let's not do that anymore, until the very end when he brings it up. It's like, well, can I still call you goddess? Yeah. Sometimes, and they only do it like once a week or something, and it's like, it's not the full DS relationship.
Which, I mean, I guess realistically it can't because there's a fucking child, but like...
Child in the picture, exactly.
Like,
So
that was not what I was hoping for, though. Like, I know that there
it
are
is what it is.
relationships out there that do have a 24-hour full power exchange kind of thing with children. I mean, they do it delicately. But, like,
Hmm.
this, like I said, it was like a switch.
Hmm.
There one day, gone the next. Like, it was just, like,
Yes, the
disappointing.
whole middle of the book is very vanilla.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's
So,
disappointing for us
for
freaks.
us, for us
But for
weirdos,
you guys,
it might
it
be
might
all right.
it might be perfect.
Yep. Okay. If there are corrections, what would those corrections be?
uh huh. I don't really there was nothing that really stood out to me.
Okay.
Um Without going to spoiler territory, I guess. Um how he found out about the daughter is a little
Mm.
bit odd. Um
Yeah, I don't remember that scene.
you don't. Okay.
Okay, so you'll have to
So
explain it to me because
no.
I
It
don't
was the whole
remember.
thing where she, because the mother, the grandmother,
Mm-hmm.
it has dementia
Right.
and got lost, and I think the neighbor called her during a scene
Mm.
that the she has her daughter and that
Yeah.
her mother is missing.
Mm. Okay.
So that's how it all started. But I don't know. He found the grandma pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Um,
Like she was like walking or something like that down the
mhm.
street.
I guess maybe in reality it wouldn't be that difficult, but I was like, I feel like in a whole ass city,
Yeah, because they're not like in
you
a
wouldn't
small
find
town or
it.
something like that. They're in a huge city.
Yeah,
And not in a suburb or something. It's like no, like in the middle
I
of the
just thought that was a
city.
little too perfect that
Convenient.
he found. Exactly convenient that he found her so quickly, and it didn't become a whole thing. And it's fine. It was necessary for the story
Mm-hmm.
for it to go that way. But and to keep it light and to keep
Yeah.
it happy. Um, but I was
Yeah,
like,
let's not have a
oh,
child show up to a gym where a scene is happening.
exactly.
I mean, that would have
Right?
probably been a little bit more logical, but
No, let's not go there.
let's not do that. Let's not let's not traumatize more people than need to. Um okay, so
Exactly.
my correction would have been oh hell. I had one. I realized that most of my January, February reads all had to do with memory loss. Did you notice that? Because like that's what I keep hitting on is like memory loss, memory loss, memory loss. I was like,
That's
holy crap!
crazy.
There's some aspect of somebody losing their goddamn mind.
Hmm.
Um. Okay, my correction would have been just him. Like I know a couple of people. I've known a couple of people, I should say, in my life that have a disability or disfigurement just like his. Okay.
Hmm.
I would have corrected his entire mentality about it.
Yeah.
Because honestly, those people are doing just fine. And I don't think I don't want to discount that they didn't have some kind of depression or something like that, but it
For sure.
never freaking stopped them. Like,
Hmm.
and this guy, it feels like the way it's written, he just
His life
like
stopped. Like
stopped. He stopped
like
being more than what he was the day he lost his, the day he
it comes
gained
off
his.
as vain, doesn't it?
Yes, I would not have made
Okay.
him so vain, especially since he's so supposedly so goddamn gorgeous.
Yeah. So he's apparently so pretty. He's got like rock hard. Works at a freaking gym,
He owns a gym,
and he owns a gym,
competitive
and
bodybuilder.
yes.
Like,
So maybe that's the issue. Maybe I'm just not like into broy dudes, and that's
yeah,
just why I don't like them.
yeah,
Yeah, I think
maybe,
you and I are on the same page there. But
yeah,
no, I'm not saying all broy dudes are vain. That's not what I'm going for. But I'm just saying he comes off as vain. He
Yeah.
does.
And not in the good way.
No.
Like there's good vanity. Like today I was
Sure.
talking about my hair. Like it looks so good on the
It's
camera.
negative vanity.
Oh, you can
It's
see
like
the.
comparing yourself to other people vanity.
I think I need to put some more color in there because that yellow's real
It's seeping
bright.
out.
Yeah.
Yep.
But like it looks good, and I was hella vain about it this morning, and I was showing it off to Cass.
As you
That's
should.
yeah, because it's. But that's a momentary vain kind of thing, you know. This guy, like, that's all he can't get past.
And that's what he thinks women are staring at all the time.
Right.
He has to wear an eye patch. And it's, okay, bud, you are otherwise like perfect and ideal, and that's what you're hung up about.
Well, so my biggest problem, and this could probably feed into number 3. So I'm gonna answer number 3 now, and then I'm gonna ask you number 3. Most people didn't notice it until he pointed it out.
Yep. Or he had to bring it up.
Yep.
So
anyways, that's my answer for number 3. Number 3 is, what was a major plot hole for you?
I guess the neighbor. Like,
Yeah.
how's the neighbor so perfect and they're not? I don't know. Maybe living in California, we're not very neighborly. But
we are, but not like that.
Neighbors, not like that. The neighbor's like the second mother. Like,
yeah.
She might as well be an auntie. She's perfect, and she also doesn't ask about the relationship either. Not until the very end, and I don't know. I feel like we could have seen a lot more from the Elsie's point of view.
Yeah.
The female main character. I just didn't. I feel like this book is mostly centered around Bran. He's like the main character of this story.
Which is fine. I love a good male, like main character. I wish there were more of them, but he's not a good main male character.
And I think that's the problem. And that's why I only gave it 3.5 stars. I think that's the problem. It's because I just don't like him. I don't like how he handles it's his attitude about his situation.
Because honestly, there's no real antagonist in this story except for his self-image.
It's true. When that's kind of all you need. I feel like there's anything else in this, it would be.
But it's such a surface level, surface. You know, like.
That's why I said it was a Hallmark movie, though.
It is. It is.
It's very surface. It's very saccharine. Silly, forced drama stuff.
Yeah. See, like, one of the things that I keep running into, and I think I mention this almost every single time we do a book of the month, a lot of the issues in just contemporary romance, specifically when it's like a normal type romance, not a fantasy or a weird like trope or anything like that. No, a contemporary romance. Communication is the problem. And to be real, that's usually the problem in most like real life relationships is communication. And in this one, this guy is just talking to himself way too much. Because it's almost all in his head. Like every problem that he's imagining is in his head. She doesn't give two shits about his disfigurement. She's just trying to make that money to take care of her daughter and mother.
Yep.
And
and she thinks he's hot as hell.
Right.
Because he is hot as hell.
Right. And she's trying to figure out why he would pay for a call girl, basically. But he doesn't realize that she is one, so.
No.
But again, could have been solved with some communication.
Yeah. Communication trope.
It's in every single story, though. But again, there's a reason that it's in every single story, is because we don't effectively communicate as adults anyways. We don't know how to talk about our feelings. We don't know how to talk about our wants and our needs. And our desires and etc. Sorry, I just realized I'm winding myself because I'm still sick, and I'm excited.
Mm-hmm.
This like 2 days of high energy is just too much when I'm sick.
It is. It's a lot.
All right, I think we've answered this one.
Mhm.
Number 4, romance, smut, or erotica.
Romance.
Oh, 100%. The everything is just too tame to be considered erotica. It doesn't happen very frequently either. Let's be real.
No, there's only like two
I
big
think there's
scenes.
2 big
I think.
scenes in the beginning, and
Mm-hmm.
then the middle is very PG-13,
Yep.
and then towards the end, actually, I would say
I think there's one at
PG,
the
and
end.
then it's PG-13 at the end. No, I agree. There's no. It is not. I wouldn't even consider it smutty. It's a hardcore romance with a weird taboo setting.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and then you have a freebie question, my love.
Mm. Oof. If you were to change the male protagonist to, I don't know, if you do you remember a lot of the male main characters in the stories that you read? Because you have like 1.5 million that you read.
You make me
Is there
sound
one
so
that
bad.
comes to mind? If there's one that comes to mind that you switch this brand out for?
No,
No.
no. Um, I having read. I think we settled on like 275 last year, right? Um,
Stupid amount. I thought you were in the 300s, girl. Because
no,
I thought you
300.
almost were
300 is for this year.
this year. Oh,
Yeah.
okay, but you were very close
I
to a
was
book a
very
day.
close. Yeah,
Yeah.
very close last year, and that was
Yeah.
counting the audios and all the physicals.
Yeah.
So I think we settled around 275. But this year is 300 on Kindle alone. That's what I'm trying for on
Mm-hmm.
Kindle alone.
Yeah.
Um, I so the no, I wouldn't switch out any prior male character with this guy. There are maybe some characteristics I would have liked to see in someone in his position,
Mm-hmm.
um, considering what the story was about. But unfortunately, a lot of the stuff that I have read so far, honestly, like a lot of the guys could just be switched out. All you have to do is switch their names out. They're all just so they're the same. They're copy and paste. Everybody's freaking gorgeous. Everyone's got a 14 size or 14-inch schlong. Everybody's, like got jawlines that could cut glass, and they're smoldering, and they're basically a teddy bear underneath it all, and they got 18 abs and a wingspan that goes out to Mars. Like it doesn't. It's all the same thing, just they're all dark haired, dark eyed, smoldering, unattainable fantasies. First of
Yeah.
all, what is anybody gonna do with this? Okay, that don't fit nowhere. Doesn't.
It's like that TikTok.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm thinking of someone that I would switch him out if he were a human man.
Asterion.
Um, no, 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 no. I'm thinking
Halson.
of, and this is a very deep cut if you've been listening to us for a very long time. I think I would switch him out with, ooh, let me
Black and silver.
look. Nope. Yeah, that's a good idea, but I'm talking about someone who is also damaged, but with
Okay.
a better attitude.
Okay.
The guy from Whispers of the Deep.
Oh.
Yeah,
Oh, the merman.
the merman. I don't know if you remember him,
I
but
do. I don't remember his name.
he had not an eye disfigurement, but he had like uh he had gotten injured.
Had
Um
he?
I think so. Or maybe it's the
No, it was
brother
his
that got
brother that was
brother.
injured. Um,
But
I mean, he's still like that was definitely an enemies to lovers type thing. He had a
mhm,
chip on his shoulder. It took them weeks to get over not just the
mhm.
communication problem, but like
the
Just
hatred.
the distrust and the hatred, yeah. But even then, like, that's almost every single guy in an enemies to lover trope. So, like, no, I wouldn't switch. I wouldn't. To answer your question, no, I wouldn't have anybody.
Okay.
Nobody stands out in my mind. Like, so far as to point out that you said, oh, this guy. And I was like, I didn't even think
Yeah.
of him because he doesn't stand out. Like, none of them
Yeah.
stand out to have been in a position like this and would have been a better characterization. Nobody. And I don't know if that's because women just are we're as writers or as, yeah, as women, I'll say women. As writers, we are quite literally just projecting our fantasy onto the page. Not that male authors don't do that, because of course they fucking do. But we're just putting down what we want. They're not. We're not writing real people.
Oh, but I don't know. I feel like there's so many people that we read about, I don't know, that do actually have character and that are not just blank slates with a six pack. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well,
I feel like Bran is one of those characters.
The fact that he's got some real trauma there, because there is some underlying things to his injury.
Is his trauma. His whole personality is his.
Bitch, tell me you haven't met someone that's like that.
I have, but still, I don't know. I want
look into my eyeballs. You're looking at her.
Damn it.
Okay. I will say that yes, I have become at times in my life personified by my trauma, but I will say that I also have other characteristics, and that is where it comes into. There are characters that we have read where we're like, this could be a person.
Yep.
This could be a whole person. They're written like they could be a person. We don't say that very often, though. And almost never about a dude. Because they're not written to be almost a person. They are written to be fantasies. So, not that I have anything against this author. In fact, like I said before at the beginning of this episode, I've read quite a few of her books already. I like her a lot. This is a fantasy of what a submissive, buff guy could be. Yes. He's not written to be a real person. And we don't see a lot of those. We thankfully see a lot of real women. Story.
You know what?
There you go.
On the phone. We already have that real story.
We do.
We have that in Entangled and Ensnared.
We have that in the Brutes of Bristolbrook, and the only reason I'm not bringing them up in this is because I don't want to pollute that story. God damn it!
I know, you're right. They're not comparable.
Anyway. They're not comparable.
If you want to read stories, we're not going to gas this book enough. But anyway, if you want to read a story with actual realistic characters that are not just fantasies,
and they're so different from each other. That's the thing, is the characters in that series are not...
They're fleshed out. They're real people.
Right.
They seem like you're reading a real person.
There's not, it's not hidden, but there's underlying motivations and things like that. This
that
guy
don't circle around the female main character.
Like this guy, his whole motivation is he just wants to be married and have kids, and nobody will do that with him, which that's again is incel coded.
Yeah, it is. Oh, no one will like me because I'm disfigured and ugly. Why won't women like me because I'm ugly? It's like, no, you're not. That's not the problem. It's your personality, bro. It always has been. And it's your self-image.
Yep.
So.
All right. Well, we are coming up to the end of this episode for February's Book of the Month. We read Stray by Daisy Jane. You can find it on KU, people. It is 500 pages long. We... give it 3 stars, and Cass over here 3.5. Cass, I love you, and I didn't get you anything for Valentine's Day, and I am sorry.
So I didn't either. It's okay.
So for that reason, I'm going to let you pick March's book.
Yes, So I pick The Poisoner, and I don't know if you are on Book Talk, but it was a big topic last year, about the middle of last year, when it was released, and it's by IV Ophelia. That's I.V.Ophelia. It is a gothic romance that's a little spicy. Um, it's a supernatural, and I'm very excited to read it. I've heard good things, though, as you know, it is a Book Talk recommendation book, so that could
Grain of salt, people. Grain of
swing
salt.
either way,
Yeah.
right? So,
looking it up, it does say it's part of a series, but only one as of yet.
Yeah.
So, do we know if there's going to be a follow up to this one?
I started to follow IV Ophelia on Instagram. I haven't heard any updates. Please update us if you guys are following her and see if they have released anything. But I haven't seen an update. I feel like if there would be another book, there would have been a release by now. But since
books
it
do
came
take
out
a while
in May,
to write, you know.
Yes.
As we know with Brutes, like she had a year post release date, and we've blown past that. Like that was for July, and we're in February, and she still doesn't have a release date. So, like, let's not put too much pressure on people. But
right, exactly. So, I am excited for this one because I haven't read a gothic romance since Beasts. No. Yeah, Beasts of Bristlebrook. I guess you can consider that a gothic.
Well, I mean, in literary terms, because gothic romances would have been like, well, it's also considered okay. Victorian. It's Victorian. According to this, it says it's a Victorian. So we'll get into that in our next episode. Thank you guys so much for joining us this month. Stay tuned for the post show if you're a part of our Apple Podcast subscriber list. Cass, I have some recommendations for you.
Yay! I'm so excited.
These are old. These are old recommendations too because I haven't been reading all week. So, all right, let me pull it up. Hold on. Give me a second.
No, you're good.
What did you get for Valentine's Day?
My husband got me not one, but 2 things of chocolate covered strawberries from Costco because every time those are my favorite.
Doesn't he?
No, he doesn't eat them. He doesn't really like them that much, but
really,
he knows how much I love them, and he showed up. He was very cute. He put them in the fridge with like little writing on them, and I came home because I had to work on Friday, and he's like, "Oh yeah, can you grab me something to drink out of the fridge?" And I was like, "Sure," because I was in the kitchen. And then I opened it up, and he's had like little hearts written on it, "Happy Valentine's Day." And then I was like, "Oh, you're so sweet." I gave him a hug and a kiss, and I came back to the kitchen. He's like, because I was trying to figure out what to make for dinner. He's like, "Yeah, we should probably cook the carrots." And the second box was in the drawer where the carrots were.
Why is he so romantic?
I know.
He's such a troll, and then he's got like this huge teddy bear heart. It's not. No.
I know.
All right. So, my recommendation for you is can't get enough of the Pretty Little Death? Join our subscriber-only episodes and get the post show available only on Apple Podcasts.